And welcome to a new episode of Mahoney's Madhouse. I am your father, but I'm the Bruins guy because the Bruins need to get their shit together. Rob Mahoney, and as always, my Capitals friend, Mr. Cyrus Alderwood.
Yeah, man. I'm glad you mentioned the Bruins. That was a frustrating game to watch last night. They've had a 3-1. I'm going to ask you, Rob, what's going on with these guys in their head? Because they had a
Well,
3-1 game lead over Toronto, and now it's tied up at three.
I never like to bash Pasternak, but Pasternak is dragging ass right lately, and everything's been produced mostly by Brad Marchand. And as the captain, obviously, you want to lead your guys, but he has literally no support. I think Pasternak has two goals and two assists, but Morgan Geeky needs to step up. A lot of the role players, Shattenkirk needs to step up. The only other one stepping up right now is Jake DeBrusk, who was pretty much a buster in the air. And so the goaltending is still amazing. I mean, Swayman has a 1.6 goals against. So we should be with a 1.6. You should have wrapped this up already. The
Yeah,
the defense is lacking. I think Brandon Carlo only has like 2 points. I think game seven. I think they need to switch it up. But switch some of the lines up because it seems like only one line is doing anything, and you can't win games like that because
no.
Toronto. We talked about this before the series. Toronto, they may not have a lot of great players, but they have hustlers. They have guys that are fighting. They have guys that want it, and a team like that frightens me.
Yeah, I mean, they don't have great talent, but they play above their talent. Well,
Yeah,
they're well coached. Like you said, they're hustlers. They don't quit. They could easily just rolled over at 3-1. But well, at least your team's seeing a game seven. Man, mine didn't even see a game five. We got swept, and
yeah.
Ovechkin scored 0 goals for the first time in the playoffs ever.
Wow.
My team's just got to get young. Oshie
Yeah,
was, he was. There's only so much you can do, and you kind of have an older team. You get that point in the year, and we run up against the buzzsaw and the Rangers in the first round, which I really didn't want. We barely got in over Detroit, and
yeah.
we barely got to play into the playoffs to begin with. But I guess with Boston, I was going to ask you, and like you probably hear talk radio up there and when people talking, and
Yeah.
do they have it stuck in their head from last year, the playoffs, that big choke they pulled,
Well,
and they just
the
can't get over that now?
the big thing with last year is I was very critical on the coaching last year, even every game, because throughout the season the Bruins always switched off goalies. Uh, I think Allmark had like 42 starts. Swayman had 40 starts. And then they went right with Allmark the whole series, knowing Allmark was already injured. So by the time game, what was it, game six rolled around, um, no, it was game five rolled around. They decided to finally put Swayman in, and I was like, he sat on the bench for him to stop a 3-1 landslide now.
No, it's
So
not going to
no,
happen.
but this year, so I was happy that they decided they were going to go with Olmark, but I guess he looked terrible in the one game he was in. He let up 3 goals, and it was like 17 shots. So maybe he's injured, but Swayman has been amazing all year. So they went the reverse way this year, but Swayman's completely healthy, and I mean it shows it. He's making some amazing stops. He's the one that kept him in that game six because they were down 1-0 the whole game, and then finally, came back and then lost 2-1. But like I said, with a 1.6 goals against, he should be getting rewarded because he can't score goals for them. I
Yeah,
know Allmark. I know Allmark did that last year, but 1 goal. But that's not a goalie's job. A goalie's job is to keep the fucking puck out of the net. So he needs his teammates. And I said, Brad Marchand, I think he has five goals and 3 assists, 8 points, and that's over a point a game. So you can't ask more from him. You need more from other people, and that's where them and their defense has looked really sloppy. So
if it comes back to another, going into the third tomorrow night. Tomorrow night's game at 8 o'clock. If anybody's going to watch it,
yeah,
so I don't know if I'm going to watch it or not, man. 'Cause I got annoyed as hell last night. It's like I got jittery watching that game. I'm like, come on, guys.
Yeah.
I don't know if I've got the nerves to sit and watch this tomorrow. I just make a check and see what the score is after the game.
Well, all I say is if they do get through this 7, they really need to regroup and get ready for round 2 because each round, as we know, gets harder and harder. So if they're going to go 7 games with and like I said, I don't want to call them a poor team. They're a really talented team. They're just very a lot of underachievers who are overachieving right now. And
Toronto,
I'm afraid of teams like that. Like Columbus Blue Jackets were like that for years.
Yeah.
The Blue Jackets would never have a star player, but you go in and you're in for a fight.
You know what that kind of reminds me of is like scrappy teams like that. Rewind a few years when the Tampa Bay Lightning was like that before they kind of busted out.
Yeah, yeah.
Serious ass.
The Lightning, prime example, good example.
Toronto is this year, but not necessarily next year, but 2, 3, 4 years. You know, the next 2 to 4 years, they're going to be a bitch, man.
Yeah, they are.
they are, and they're not going to come in at a 7 seed or 6 seed.
Yeah.
But I don't know if do you have a prediction for the game? If it's a 2-1 game, I'm giving it to Toronto. I think all the pressure's on Boston right now not to choke.
Yeah.
I bet everybody's talking about last year what happened, and we're doing the same thing.
I'm afraid for Game 7. I think the only way the Bruins win Game 7 is to come out like a house of fire and get a quick goal to kind of put that pressure right on Toronto. Because I noticed Toronto, when they do go down, they still fight and claw, but they get a little sloppy because we've had the Bruins have had 2 games in the series that they've scored like 5 goals.
Yeah.
And that's all because the Bruins came up like fire, scored right away. That if they go down 1-0, I don't feel good about the Bruins winning.
No, because all the pressure's on Boston. Like I said, because they've got nothing to lose. They're not even supposed to be in Game 7. They should be sitting home right now.
Because I think when we made our predictions, I think I said in 5 games. I gave them that 1 game, but I didn't expect them to win 3. So
I think I said in 6, but that didn't happen either. So I'm just if they don't score the first goal, I don't, like I said, if it goes up 1-0 Toronto, I'm going to watch a movie and just check the score later on because I don't want to get that pissed off on a Saturday night.
Yeah. And unfortunately, I'm off at 7:00, and the game starts at 8. So I have to make my decision.
Just in time.
I might go back and forth because if I stay and watch it and then Toronto scores, then I'll be like you. I'm like, all right. I'm not someone that jumps ship like a lot of fans. I like, if the Bruins do lose, I'm going to say, hey, great season. Let's regroup for next year. I do think that they need to bolster their defense next year. Carlo is starting to get up there. They do have a young kid that just came up from Providence, Witherspoon. I think he's going to be a really good defenseman, but he's still young. So I think they need to get at least a tier 2 defenseman, if not a tier 1. Like definitely get a top defenseman. But if you can't, get a couple tier 2 guys, because besides Carlo and McAvoy, like I think the rest of them are not going to develop the way that they want them to. So
they need better defense on the second line. And, but if they choke tomorrow night, man, I would hate to be a big diehard fan listening to the radio Sunday morning and Monday, because all you're going to hear about is Boston is the Dallas Cowboys in the NHL. They come in there and kick
especially last year I gave them a pass because last year, a lot of people were talking about the age of some of the veterans. Then Bergeron retired and David Krejci retired, because they were both in their high 30s. And I give the Bruins credit. They went out and got some younger players. They got like the Morgan Geekie, the Shattenkirk. So they did get younger. So I can't. If they lose this time, I can't really give them a pass.
They're going to be good for a few years.
Yeah,
and the window's going to be open, but it's like, like once you get that stigma on you, you can't win a playoff series.
Yeah,
with a group of people. I mean, we see what happens in Dallas.
Yep. Yeah. But my game prediction will be 3-2 Bruins. But like I said, if Toronto comes up swinging and gets that first goal, then it's going to be a real hard uphill battle the rest of the game.
It's going to be a pressure cooker there in that arena in
Yeah.
Boston, man.
I think if they can score within the first 7-8 minutes and go up 1-0 right away, now you switch that to, because now Toronto say, well, we made it all the way back by beating these guys to the punch, and now we're the ones that have to go uphill. So
yeah. Well, they're winning in the
I think they get sloppy when they're down like 2 goals. I noticed that when the Bruins won 5-1, they turned the puck over like 3 or 4 times. I think the Bruins had like 3 breakaways at one point, so in that game 1.
Yeah. Well, I'm looking forward to the game, so we'll see where it goes, man.
Yep.
But hope they make the round 2. They better play some better hockey in round 2, or they'll be the one out in 6 games.
Yeah, I guess they'll be dying hard. Sorry, I had to work that one. I had to work that one somewhere in there. I see we're joined by Mr. Huge Dong Po.
Yeah, that's the nickname his pet donkey gave him. Is that?
Yeah, we'll call him Dong Po. Instead of Don Ho, he's Dong Po.
Dong Po. Yeah, that's got to be a cool name to have. I noticed that when he signed in early, he had that Raven T-shirt on. I was like, man, he's just a Po boy from a Po family.
So we're going to talk about the new Motley Crue song.
Yeah, man. What do you think?
So, I don't even know where to begin. Okay, I have a perfect beginning. So I've been a Motley fan since day one. Like, I remember when Live Wire came out. I remember saying to my sister, "This is the next greatest band in the world," and I'll come back to the rest of that story because there's a funny ending to that story. But yeah, so I've said it from day one that Mick Mars is the driving force behind Motley Crue. Vince Neil used to get all the credit before he started talking worse than Joe Biden. Sorry, but that's I had to throw that shot at Vince because he's terrible now.
Oh yeah.
Nikki Sixx got too big headed for his britches, and Tommy Lee will always be a great drummer. Like, I can't really say anything bad about Tommy Lee. But
even his solo work was pretty good, wasn't it?
Yeah, but we've seen Motley Crue without their players before. Like when Vince was fired, they brought in, can't even remember his name, John Corabi.
Yeah,
John Corabi. And John Corabi was a good singer, but you did see the difference. It was a difference, really good. Corabi's vocals were pretty good. I mean, not great. It wasn't Motley Crue, but it was still tolerable. And then Tommy Lee left for a couple of years in the 2000s, and I can't remember that girl's name. They had Randy Castillo first from the Aussie band, and then they had a girl that played on like one of the albums, and she was really good. So you really didn't hear a difference in their sound when Tommy left, because Randy Castillo is an amazing drummer. He's on that Blizzard of Oz album with Ozzy, but now you see the one person that's been in the band since day one besides Nikki, and you can see and hear, and this is not a slight against John 5, is it?
Yeah, John 5, amazing guitar player, one of the
amazing
best in the world. Yeah,
but I made this comparison earlier. What was the band that did My Name Is Mud? Primus. Yes, thank you, producer Poe. So that's like putting that bass player in the band Poison. It doesn't work. And he's a great bassist, but John, like you said, John 5 is a great guitarist, but it doesn't fit. And you could hear it right from the first strings. And then behind the scenes, we were talking before the show. You told me an interesting fact about the video.
Oh yeah. It was. If you look at the video for Dogs of War, there are these spiders that are in there, and like the video is kind of a zombie thing going to hell, and if I were 12, I'd think the video was okay, But these spiders that are in there, they use what was called the frostbite spiders from the game Skyrim
Yeah.
by Bethesda, which is now owned by Microsoft. So a friend of mine, actually, who is a video game developer, she saw this video and she's like, they didn't even alter it. They used the exact same spiders. So not only is Mick Mars suing the band now for all the things they've kind of done to him, which I think wrongfully so,
Yeah.
but now they're going to end up getting served a lawsuit from Bethesda for copyright infringement using those spiders in their video.
Yeah.
Unless they got permission, but I don't see a big company like Microsoft giving Motley Crue on a shitty video a right to use something from one of their video games because that's their reputation of the game that's online too. Yeah. Everybody thought the video sucked.
If it was Motley Crue in their prime, maybe, but like Motley Crue, I was just talking to our boy Cody Robinson before the show, and wow, like I was watching some videos last year of Motley Crue live, and they actually had to use, like, luckily I knew the lyrics, but they were using subtitles for Vince's lyrics. That's how bad his voice has gotten, that they were using subtitles. And then most of the show was him saying, hey, you guys want to sing along? It's like, if I'm paying $150 to see Motley Crue and it's all crowd participation, I would want my fucking money back. I don't mind helping singing like one verse, but when I'm singing the whole chorus or even like the lyrics to like their lines, how about you pay me to fucking sing then? Because
either that or get an open bar. Like if I'm paying good money, you know.
And I made that joke earlier. Yeah, and I made that joke earlier about like Vince's singing voice is worse than Joe Biden's talking. It is. I can understand Joe Biden at least 60% of what he's saying.
I can understand Ozzy better. Like
and Ozzy, and he's been he's had a terrible speaking voice for years.
Yeah, you said it. I haven't even heard anybody put it that way. The way you said it before, it's like, you know, when you put that piece of the puzzle in there, that puzzle don't fit. John 5 don't fit. Now, I never heard of that. So, you know, when you get I think Motley Crue is a victim of their own success on this one, because when you put that like 4 pieces of a puzzle together and they fit, and they develop what's called a standard. And a few bands do this. Very few bands can do that. Led Zeppelin, like if you try to replace anybody in Led Zeppelin, ain't gonna work. You know, if you try to do that with somebody in a handful of bands, it's not going to work. Same thing here. Nothing wrong with John 5, killer guitar player. Now, if to me they should change their name something else other than Motley Crue, because if I heard this song, and it's an okay song, good rock song, but it's not Motley Crue because there's a standard to Motley Crue.
Exactly, and I said the same thing to Cody Robinson. I was like, if you everybody got mad when Halloween 3 called itself Halloween 3 Season of the Witch. This is the same example. This, yes, we know it's all Motley Crue members plus John 5, but give it a different title. Give it like the New Crew or something like that. It's you can't. Go ahead.
I'm watching the video in the background right now. It is fucking god awful.
It's a bad video.
It's like video game graphics, but not new gen. It's like last gen.
Yeah.
Tommy Lee doesn't even look like Tommy Lee. By the way, the lyrics are, I mean, I can barely hear dumbass singing.
Yeah.
It's oh my god. Okay. No, I just had to throw that in there. I'm watching this train wreck, and it's just
it is. No, you took the words right out of my mouth. Train wreck. That's exactly what my final analysis of that song was. Train wreck.
Let me ask you, Rob and Poet. I guess, have you guys heard of, like, you know, everybody in Motley Crue's done their own thing. Tommy Lee did his own thing there for a while. It wasn't Motley Crue, but it was Tommy Lee, and it was okay. It was good. It was different sound. I liked it. Okay, you know, it was all right. Nikki Sixx did his own thing. 6 a.m.
Yeah,
I liked a lot of that. A lot of dark.
And Bride to Destruction. He was also in Bride to Destruction too.
Yeah.
And then Vince Neil did his own thing when they kicked him out, and that sounded. He tried to sound more like Motley Crue. Yeah, you're invited, but your friend can't come. Remember that movie that came out? You know.
Yeah.
And so that was Encino Man, right? He did part of that.
Yeah, it was an Encino Man. Yeah.
And then Mick Mars has got some solo stuff out on YouTube, And if you go watch his stuff, it's that signature Mick Mars guitar. It's darker lyrics, a little heavier. I prefer his stuff to any of the other guys. The solo work. And that to me is like, I wouldn't call it Motley Crue either, but it's Mick Mars and it's freaking good.
This is the problem. Okay, this is the problem with people trying to do their own thing. Like when Kiss did it. Okay, there was some talent in Kiss. Okay, there was, but by themselves there was not. Okay, it's like they had to be together and like, I'm going to do my own solo project. And every single one of them, I'm sorry, sucked. Okay. I'm just, even, what Ace Frehley back in the New York group, it has that
awesome tune. Yeah.
Back in the, it's like, I could see Kiss doing that. They were trying to do the same thing. And it's like, why didn't y'all just do that together? It probably would have been, I think, a bigger hit.
Well, I know Paul and Gene were up to their heads with Ace Frehley because Ace, I mean, he even self-admitted to me that he played better drunk. I saw him at a solo show in '95 before the first reunion in '96, and I got to meet him, and he was drunk off his fucking rocker. And my buddy, his name is Chris. My buddy, he's like one of those very outspoken. He doesn't care who he's talking to. He's like, man, Ace, you're all fucked up. And Ace goes like this. He goes, I play better that way.
Yeah, and I've seen those guys like 5 times. Well, love it every single time.
But everybody tries to do it, and then Motley Crue tried to do it. And I'm sorry, Nikki Sixx, he's a talented motherfucker. He can write songs.
Yeah.
And he writes good songs. He does. Tommy Lee tried to do his own thing, like a grunge thing that every time something I learned to fly, it holds me down or something.
Yeah.
And then Limp Bizkit came out and they're like, Methods of Mayhem. And then they had that stupid song, Get Naked. And it was horrible. It was terrible. Like these guys are just, you have to be self-aware, and sometimes these guys go out and they do this, and then they're not like, oh, this is going to be good because we have fans and they'll buy it. Just like this video is dog shit. Like you could have done so much better, and this is just my opinion. I mean, you're Motley Crue, you have money, you could spend it way better.
Their live shows, I'm sure the music is good, but their live shows, the vocals are horrible. I saw him on Dr. Feelgood tour, and that's the worst concert I've ever seen. His vocals ruined the music that was on stage when I saw it. And this was back in the 90s.
Yeah, and smoking and drinking that whole fucking time. I mean, it's
And Mick Mars actually in an interview confirmed that they use backing tracks on stage to cover up a lot of like Vince Neil's voice and glitches in the music, because like they've seen videos been going around of Nikki Sixx playing bass or pointing out to the crowd or like fixing his mic, and his bass is still playing. Like he's not even touching it, and he's like, and they're like, okay, so and people are like talking, are they using it? And Mick Mars said, yeah, they've been doing it for quite a long time. They were doing it when I was there. Like he was the only guy that was actually playing like full live.
Yeah. And I mean, we talked earlier backstage about Mick Mars' health too. Like the guy's not a healthy man, and he can still out rock all 3 of them together.
Oh yeah, I would take Mick Mars single stuff over any of the other guys' single stuff any day.
Exactly. Like if there was a draft pick, between like me, you, Poe, and whoever, like Cody Robinson, and we all got to pick one member, and if I have number 1 pick, I'm taking Mick Mars for my band.
Oh yeah,
like.
I mean, every song that came on the radio, when they hit the guitar, as soon as you heard that first strum, you knew that was Motley freaking Crue.
Yeah,
this is PlayStation 3 graphic.
Yeah,
I mean, I'm watching this right now.
Yeah,
what is this? What am I watching? Why did who?
And they're pretending like they're actually a better band now too. That's the funny part.
No, they're not. And they could have done somewhat. What the hell? This guy's eyes are bugging out. They got people with dog heads, people with pig heads. It's
It looks like a
doesn't even
class
make
project, like a class project.
wow. Yeah. No, I'm Rob.
Yeah, it does actually.
Rob, we're in 2024. They
Yeah.
could have done a better class project. This is a class project probably like 10 to 7 years ago.
I'm gonna dude, I'm gonna have some shots fired here. Michael T. Gagnon could put better graphics out there.
There you go. Dude, a monkey with Down syndrome could have pieced something better. I mean, this is just who signed off on this? I
don't know. Who looked at this video and said, "Yeah, this is definitely gonna be a hit"?
Their minds are so like decayed from all the drugs they did that they thought this was cool looking.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. If I was in a badass rock band like that, I could have done so. I'll come up with a better idea before the end of this show. I'll come up with a better idea for Motley Crue's Dog Award before the end of the show, and I will make my pitch, and y'all let me know if I'm stupid or retarded or whatever. You let me know. But I'm going to come up with
you can use the video "Girls, Girls, Girls" for some reason. For some reason, I'm thinking that song.
No, I just
maybe because I want to Die Hard. I don't know.
Anyway, I'll come up with something. Let me cook. I'll cook in the background. I just wanted to jump in because I was watching this disaster.
Okay, Walter White, go cook.
Yeah,
Walter White,
Heisenpo. Let me get
Heisenpo. There we go. That's a new show coming to the network. Heisenpo. Oh shit! But so yeah, if I had to grade this, and I know we don't have any negative numbers that we can use, but I really wish we did. I would have to say 0 out of 5. That's how bad this is.
Yeah, I won't be that mean. I'd give it about a 1. If it wasn't Motley Crue, it's another band, I'd give it about a 2.5, 3. It's a pretty decent song. I didn't know who it was, but like knowing it's that, it's like I give this a 1.
Yeah,
and if I give the video something, I give 0.
And here's the funny thing: was when the first chord hit, I was like, okay, it's not terrible, but then it slows up, goes back hard, goes slow, and then the video in the background is way too distracting. And I was like, what? I literally at the end of the video, I was just like, my face was like I just seen a ghost. I was like, what did I just watch? Like, or what did I just hear? Like that wasn't Motley Crue.
No, not at all.
So, anyways, folks, if you haven't seen the video, I'm just gonna advise if you're a Motley Crue fan, just go in with caution and have some alcohol standing by. So.
Yes.
Yeah.
Always
all right.
keep the alcohol standing by.
So, so I was gonna talk about before we get into the Bruce Willis movie that we're gonna talk about. First, let's get serious a little bit and talk about Mr. Willis's health right now. Just quickly, I don't want to hop on it because it's rough watching a guy that you grow up on, and like he'll always be John McClane. I mean, he had some great movies besides Die Hard, but like it's like when I look at Rocky, when I look at Stallone, I call him either Rocky or Rambo. It's like you're not Sly anymore. You're like one of those characters. But it's sad seeing a man that you idolize. Like I used to wait in line for those Die Hard movies. I was 17 when first one came out. I was first in line when the second one came out. I was first in line when the third came out. Like self-admittedly, I never got to see the other ones at theaters, but like I enjoyed that whole franchise. And man, my heart definitely goes out to him, his family, his friends, and it's hard.
Yeah, and he's just been such a decent man too, because I guess he had a band on the side of Blues Band. He played harmonica. He was in that show Moonlighting, but he would do a lot, I guess, in support of the troops in places. And he was just one of those guys, that not only was a cool action figure and then a comedian. I guess he got kind of typecast in some comedian, comedy roles, but just he seemed like somebody you just have a beer with, and you wish him well.
Yeah, it's rare to see like someone like that in Hollywood. We've talked about how Keanu Reeves is a very down to earth person, but from what I understood, even Demi Moore, like they're not even together anymore. She's still like there by his side. Like that goes miles when you think of
When your
someone
ex-wife
that
don't
got
hate you.
yeah
When your
yeah of
ex-wife
course,
can't even hate you, you
yeah.
did something
And
right.
I guess she's always over there a lot too. I guess Bruce just had a birthday recently, and they someone took a small clip, and you could see he was happy, like he was happy that people were there, but it was in a way, it almost like he looked at them like he didn't know who they were,
Yeah.
and that broke my heart. Like I watched that. It's only like a minute long video. That's like the end of them singing "Happy Birthday," and you see him in the back. He looks all happy, but it's like he doesn't really respond to one person. He's just like happy that people are there. Like, and that's it.
I
It
mean,
really broke my heart that
yeah.
like a guy, like I said, a guy like I watched for years on the silver screen, and now like he's just struggling to,
Yeah.
and I looked up his conditions called front temporal lobe dementia, and the expected lifespan for someone that gets diagnosed with that is, they say, 4 to 6 years. And he was only diagnosed, I think it was last year, so we
Yeah,
don't know if
it takes
we
your
don't know
sight
how long he's
eventually
really had
too.
it.
Yeah, it
That's
takes
the
your
scary
sight
thing.
eventually too. And I know somebody that's going through that right now, actually,
Yeah.
from the family, and it's sad to watch. We all have known somebody that's had dementia, and it's, man, to watch
Yeah.
somebody that's been so acclaimed at what he's done and hardworking, and you go to these movies. I can't remember 5 words I read or wrote on my own book last night, but to go and know these movie scripts, it's gotta be in your heart and soul, and just like to see that kind of passion stamped out of somebody because of something like that is just sad. And I'll say
Yeah.
this: we've talked about guilty pleasure movies here and there. You have a guilty pleasure movie. Man, there's like 3 movies that he did that I consider guilty pleasure movies of my own, and that's
Yeah.
like I don't know any other actor or actress that has that many movies that fit that for me, but this one guy. And when you
Yeah.
want to talk about Die Hard, I'm like, everybody always talks about like Armageddon and Sixth Sense, some of these big, huge, blockbusters like Die Hard back then. But
Yeah.
like, I think all the other smaller movies that kind of,
Well, I was
kind of meet
also
the
thinking
role.
about Pulp Fiction. He's
Yeah,
not the main star, obviously, but the time that he gets on the screen, like you just don't forget those scenes.
you'd think he was the whole movie. That's
Yeah.
how impactful that character was. John Hardigan.
Yeah.
Or,
Yeah, it's supposed to be
Yeah.
revolved mostly around Samuel and
mhm.
his epiphany of why he wasn't shot. But like when Bruce Willis hits the screen, he just grabs your attention
Oh, he owns it.
right from that scene when he's talking to Marcellus. I mean, that whole interaction, not seeing Marcellus and him asking Butch to drop the fight, and you could see like the intensity is like he really didn't want to do it. And I kept saying to myself, he's gonna drop it. And then what does he do? He doesn't drop it. He kills the man in the ring. And now the rest of that scene, like the interaction with him and his girlfriend, some of the funniest shit ever. And it's not meant to be funny, but like he goes into, like you talked about his comic background, he goes into that bag of tricks of comedy, and like he pulls off like a serious scene with Marcellus. It almost makes it comical because of
Oh,
how he reacts when he stabs the guy with the knife, and like he gives that look like I was like,
just facial expressions and
yes,
mannerisms. Like,
yes,
if there's the
thank you. His
comedy,
mannerism in that scene is just, he should have won a friggin' like, at least a supporting role, easy.
yeah, yeah.
So
But Die Hard was one of these movies that kicked off that guy's career, man. I know he was on Moonlighting, which was a big show back in the 80s.
yeah, then I think he had a movie called Blind Date too before that.
Yeah, Blind Date was who was that with? Kim
Oh
Basinger.
yeah,
Kim
Basinger,
Basinger,
yeah.
who was like the hottest babe of like the decade, and so many things, Because
Yeah.
she was certainly a big crush of mine growing up.
Mhm. So yeah, but Die Hard, and we'll get into Die Hard in just a second, but yeah, like you said, that it basically launched his career, and some amazing sequels. I've watched these reaction channels, and every single one of them loves John McClane. And I had a question for you before we get into the movie. We talk about crazy cops. Who do you think is the crazier one? John McClane or the Lethal Weapon.
Well, I knew where you were going with that, man.
Martin
Riggs. Yeah. Oh my God, who's the crazier one? Dude, I don't know, man. That's.
I think face to face when they're like face to face with a bad guy. I think Riggs is, but I think McClane does crazier shit. Except, well, that Riggs did jump out of a skyscraper with a with a would be killer. But
I know. Wow, that's man. That's tough because those two franchises were the '80s and like early '90s because those.
You could almost say that they were rivals in a way because like they both kind of had that same theme of like the crazy cop, but the other one was a cop buddy movie, and McClane kind of stood alone. So that's why I think I give the nod to McClane because he did everything on his own, and except in part 3, he did have Samuel Jackson a little bit.
That was a good film, though, man. I really like that one. Yeah, I think. McClane because he stayed darker and edgier longer, and then Riggs and Lethal Weapon. I guess he found a reason to live and kind of got softer, but they were still crazy as hell. Like both of them, like a couple of kamikaze cops that would throw themselves in the middle of a bullfight with wearing all red with no shield or sword. like hey, come get me. I don't know. That's tough though.
And John McClane also had the coolest one-liner in history, Mr. Poe. Did you catch my cue?
I think he took a nap. I think he's masturbating.
Well, we'll just say it then. No. Yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker. There he is.
Great though. Yeah, one of the best one-liners of the film.
Yes.
Like that ranks up there with the Terminator. I'll be back.
Yeah, if you guys look on YouTube, there is a guy, I think his name is Roger something. He does a top 100 greatest one-liners, and I believe that one is like top 5 in his list. So
it easily has to be, man.
Yeah.
I guess one of those lines from the '80s you just never forget.
Yeah, like his whole interaction with Alan Rickman, and when he first gets a walkie-talkie, and he's like, "Who are you, Rambo?" He goes, he's like, I prefer Roy Rogers.
Yeah. Speaking of Alan Rickman, he's a good acclaimed actor, been in a lot of stuff. Do you know that was his first major role was Die Hard?
Yep.
I would never have thought that at all.
Who would ever known that McClane would kill Severus Snape?
Yeah, I know. Like he was Hans Gruber, man. I don't know. It's just I don't think anybody else is going to fit that role other than him. And now Bruce Willis, in hindsight, like who else would have fit that role of John McClane? Not really.
So one more thing before we get into the movie, we're going to do a quick Mount Rushmore Bruce Willis movies, and no particular order. So just
all right.
And Mr. Poe, you can come in here if you want to do you can talk right from the little cue that you have there. No,
I'm here.
Okay, so Mr. Cyrus, you want to go first on your 4 Mount Rushmore?
Yeah. Again, in no particular order, but I'd said earlier that there were like 3 movies of his that were like guilty pleasure movies. So anybody could have put Armageddon and Sixth Sense on this top 4. I just kicked those off there just for good measure because that's going to be like most people. So I want to go a little bit different direction. Sin City, John Hardigan. Excellent role. Again, he was only in there part of the movie, but you'd think he owned the whole damn movie.
Yeah.
Pulp Fiction, that was on the Rushmore.
Yeah.
Die Hard obviously has to be on the Rushmore. Love this movie. I like this movie. I've seen probably over 50 times, and it really never freaking gets old. Christmas movie, lovely Christmas.
Yes, and we're going to talk about that, by the way, too.
Also, I put The Last Boy Scout.
Thank you.
That's a good one.
So my guilty pleasure movies, I would tell people, definitely Sin City, The Last Boy Scout. But again, one of my favorite all-time films, I own this, Hudson Hawk.
Yeah.
I love that freaking movie, him and Danny Aiello.
Yeah, and Danny Aiello is great in that. Mr. Poe, do you have your 4 not guilty pleasures, but your go-to Bruce Willis movies?
Yeah, my go-to Bruce Millis.
Bruce Millis.
Bruce Millis. Who's that?
That's his cousin.
You don't know Bruce Millis movies? No. Definitely Sin City. That was a good pick. I didn't think he was going to pick Sin City, but yeah, that's a great character he played in that. I did enjoy the whole 9 yards. I thought that was a cool movie with him in it, so I'd definitely go to that. Oh man, I'm trying to think. There's so much shit he's been in, and I'm just here going.
It's hard to reduce it to 4.
It is. Oh, Red. I liked Red.
That was a great one.
Too. Red and Red 2. Those were good movies. I did enjoy. I think, if I'm not mistaken, before he started declining really bad in health, I think those movies in that year.
I think those were late. Yeah, later Bruce Willis.
That, and I'm not gonna name this as my movie, but this was around the time that G.I. Joe Retribution came out with The Rock and him in it. But
yeah,
that other character I really like, and it seems funny, but Death becomes her husband and all that.
Yes.
That was a good role of his.
Yeah, that was a good role. So, I mean, those movies come to mind whenever I think of Bruce Willis. For some reason, those come to mind. Last Boy Scout, of course, is a good one as well.
Yeah.
But,
that might as well have been another Die Hard movie.
Oh, yeah. It could have been. I mean, there's one thing I did enjoy was he was in a video game called Apocalypse. It was for PlayStation 1. And I remember renting it because it said Bruce Willis on the cover of the case, the jewel case. And I rented it. I played through that whole game that weekend. It was such a fun game. And it's called Apocalypse, if no one's ever heard of it. And then the Die Hard games, of course, they used his voice in the Die Hard games, and those were fun.
Yeah.
So, yeah, definitely a Bruce Willis fan, and definitely, played him in video games and stuff, and that was fun, too.
Okay, so my Mount Rushmore, I definitely have to put Die Hard in there. It's one, and we talked about it already briefly. You mentioned about Christmas movie. We're gonna talk a little bit about that, but to me, it's definitely a Christmas movie. But we'll talk about why we think it later. Die Hard with a Vengeance is also one of my top 4. I was surprised by this because usually when you have Samuel L. in your movie, he's such a powerhouse actor that I thought it was going to kind of take away from Bruce Willis. Not that Bruce Willis can't hang, but I thought it would be more about both of them. But Bruce Willis is probably at his best in that role. I'm gonna say it's better than Die Hard. A lot of people are gonna be smacking me right now, but I love Vengeance. I love Last Boy Scout, and I agree with Cyrus. Hudson Hawk was my other one.
Awesome movie.
And I had to cut out my if it was a 5, I would have put it Fifth Element in there.
Yeah, I told around with that one too. That was interesting. That was a fun sci-fi, but
just because it was such a zany movie.
Damn it! That is one of my favorite movies. I couldn't think of it. Son of a bitch.
We'll blame Aaron Miller. No, we'll bring Bruce Millison.
I'm surprised one of you guys didn't mention was Planet Terror.
No, Planet Terror was great too, but I don't think it's more about him in that one. But with in Pulp Fiction, I cut that one out too. Like Poe mentioned earlier, there's so many choices. It's how do you pick just 4? But Paul, I talked about my love for Pulp Fiction earlier. How that scenes with Marcellus Wallace, who also was a great actor too himself, and I think that's what I like about Bruce Willis is you could put any kind of talent next to him, and he's gonna either rival or beat you, and that's rare. So
yeah.
So let's talk about Die Hard 1988. So it came in a budget of $28 million. And just that year alone, it already made $96 million. And then it did get a brief re-release. So it ended up with grossing $144 million. I guess at first they didn't think they had a hit on their hands. They were doubting the the firepower of this movie. But man, when they realized what a gem they had, of course, it spawned all the sequels and John McClane fever going around and yippee-ki-yay and all over the place. So,
Yeah.
what do you think about your first impression of Die Hard when you saw it?
Uh, it kind of started off a little bit slow because he's on his way to Nakatomi Towers, which turns out to be
Yeah.
like Fox Studio. Actually, back in the day, they filmed at their own studio. They were building the building. I found that out.
Oh wow!
So they didn't have any. They were just about building the building. They didn't have any furniture in there, so they had to rearrange anything. So it was perfect for a set.
Yeah.
So Fox, they filmed their own movie at their own site, and my first impression was like a lot of high octane action, one liners. Again, one of those defining moments of the late '80s. Like, here's another great action film that rivals things like Lethal Weapon and Beverly Hills Cop, and here Bruce Willis got his shining moment. And I'd already liked him in some of his stuff anyway, but it was one of those on the edge of your seat movies, I thought, because the terrorists in there, when they were holding all the people at that Christmas party hostage, he just wanted to get his wife out of there and alert the cops. And it's like he's doing anything he can to alert these Keystone cops that some bad shit's going on in this building. And I was wondering, like, but it was the fact that he didn't have his shoes with him. He's like trying to run around, running glass, bleeding, and all these terrorists are looking for him. It's like, how's this rogue cop from New York going to survive out here in LA in this, But it was a very action-packed, one-liner kind of. It was this very like suspenseful movie all the way through. So there's no like second to go take a piss and come back. You're gonna miss something.
No. And then when you get the entrance of Hans Gruber, played by the amazing Alan Rickman, and wow, like if I had to put a top 10 bad guys list in action movies, he's up there easy. Probably
Hans Gruber.
Top three easy. Top three easy. He is played so well. Like, he actually convinces you that he's a real terrorist. Like when first time I saw this movie, I was afraid of that man. I was like, he shoots people right when he says he's gonna. Like when he had the owner, the guy, the Chinese guy. Yes, you can hit the racist button if you want. Oh, but he's like, you have a cut
for the other show.
He goes, you have a count to 3. It's like he literally shoots him on 3. Like, you always watch these movies like, oh, you have 3 seconds, and it always becomes like 5 or 12. He literally shot him on the 3rd second. Like, he's like, I don't know what to tell you. He's like, okay, bam, you're gone. Like,
but you know what? He played that cold German mystique, like all the World War II movies you'd seen, like Hitler on the History Channel every night. He played that badass. I mean, he could have been like an SS soldier for all we know. Like, he had that mentality of like, get it done.
Yeah. And another thing I love about this movie is the comedic aspect. The relationship between McClane and the beat cop played by the guy from Family Matters of all things. Like, I thought they had great chemistry, even though they never started each other until the end of the movie. Like, but they had great interactions over the walkie-talkies and how all the boys are betting for him. And he's like, Bruce Willis like, what's the odds on me? I thought that was great. And then the guy who plays his boss is Paul Gleason, who played in Trading Places. And he also was in Breakfast Club. So, they had a lot of great character actors for this movie too, because Paul Gleason always plays that kind of scumbag in every movie. He played the guy from Trading Places who smuggled the stuff into Winthorpe's jacket, and he played the scumbag principal, and he plays a scumbag in, I think, a movie with Anthony Michael Hall called Johnny Be Good. He's like Johnny's coach, who's a scumbag.
That's right.
Yeah. So, like, he plays the scumbag role really well. So they got some great character actors to help with this movie. But I think even if they didn't have great character actors and it was just Bruce Willis and Alan Rickman, I think they could have just carried this whole movie. But those little added elements just made it even much better.
Do you still to this day wonder about poor Argyle down in the garage? Wait.
Yeah, I know. No, Argyle came out at the end, like after he came out before Remember Sven? I think it was Sven, the his partner came out and they thought they killed him, and the guy from Family Matters ended up pulling his pistol. Well, after that, there was a limo that came out, and it was Argyle.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah, that's a very irritating because he's like, no, he's with me, because all the cops like drew their guns. And he's like, they thought it was another terrorist.
Just poor Argyle, leave that kid alone.
Yeah.
But
but Argyle's character served his purpose right in the beginning. Taking McClane to the building and like saying, "Hey, if things don't hook up, you got a place to stay." He played that like support role, and then you see him like jamming out when all the gunfire is going out. He's bobbing his head. It's another comic scene that just doesn't get noticed enough because that's what this movie has. It's a little bit of everything, but like it goes full throttle after. The guy gets shot, and remember when McClane's questioning, like, why didn't you do anything, asshole? Oh, that's right, because you would be dead, asshole.
Yeah, this is one of those like action films, suspenseful films, but you had fun.
Yes.
Like they're like there's so much like it's the subtleties that just made it kind of cooled you off and relaxed you to sit there and keep watching this stuff, and it was a lot of fun. Like what's the next one liner you don't want to miss,
Yeah. Mr. Poe had another sound clip from a scene when he's up in the air vent.
Go to the coast. We get together. Have a few laughs.
Another great liner too. So, I mean, Bruce Willis uses his capability of comedy with the action to kind of balance off each other. I think he's using the comedy to kind of stay calm in the situation because this is all terrorists, and he didn't sign up for this. This ain't his city. So
yeah.
But like you mentioned about the Keystone Cops, like he felt like, well, if I don't do it, this place is gone. Like everybody's dead, and he knows that his wife, also played by another actor, Bonnie Bedelia, she does her part in this, and she gets offended because she calls herself Gennaro, but I guess the circumstances like that where you end up saving her life, I guess she owes him to get back together again.
Yeah, or at least like one more romp in the hay. Like, come on,
yeah,
for God's sake, you saved our asses at Christmas. Yeah, you told me something interesting when you were kind of teeing us up on the last show that we were going to be doing Die Hard. Told me something that I had no idea, that the first person offered the role of John McClane was Frank Sinatra.
I did I say that?
I think you did, or so one of you guys said that. And I think so.
It could have been Cody because Cody was did our last show.
I did some maybe it was him. Because I looked up some like fun facts of this movie, and when you mentioned Alan Rickman like shooting the guy on the count of three,
yeah,
you remember the final scene when he fell from the plaza?
Yes,
he was, I guess, holding on to a stuntman and was falling 20 feet into this big I guess thing to catch him, right? This tarp. And when he fell off, they were going to say, okay, after we're going to count 1, 2, 3, and then let you go.
Yeah.
And they pulled that on him. They did 1, 2, and then let him go, so they get a realistic look of how scared shitless he was when he fell, like that look of surprise.
Yeah.
And that's what they did to him on that scene. But I was looking back at just some fun facts, and this thing was kind of inspired by the. All right, hold on. Something just popped up on my screen and made a bunch of noise. I don't know if you guys heard that.
No.
But anyway, they had offered this to Frank Sinatra, I guess, because he had the dibs on this, right, at first.
Oh, really? Wow.
My history on this, because Die Hard's fun facts. Okay, here we go. He started this adaptation of The Detective, and so he was 73 at the time. This movie is based off a book that was a spin-off of that book, The Detective, he starred in. So he was 73 at the time, so he turned it down. But they didn't. He was like one of the last people they went to do this. Originally, it says here, this is on Mental Floss. it was Clint Eastwood who owned the movie rights to Nothing Lasts Forever, which is what this was based on, which he planned to star in the early 80s, but that didn't happen. And Bruce Willis was not the first choice for the lead. Sinatra got the first bid. He turned it down. I was pretty smart, age 73.
Yeah.
So they said they needed a bona fide action star, the movie studio did. So they offered this to a bunch of different A-listers at the time that all turned it down. Stallone, Harrison Ford, Robert De Niro, Charles Bronson, Nick Nolte, Mel Gibson, Richard Gere, and Don Johnson. Burt Reynolds was also offered, and so was Richard Dean Atchison, which is the MacGyver.
Yeah.
Right. All these people turned it down. They all declined it. And the only way Bruce Willis got to do this is because he had to turn them down too because they were filming Moonlighting. But then what's her face on there got pregnant, and they had to break for 11 weeks. And he's like, "Okay, I can do it now."
You know, it's
funny.
funny.
Why can I see MacGyver as John McClane?
I could totally see Charles Bronson as like John McClane. He's like, "Hey, you terrorist punk!" Like, oh, like, you know, yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker. What's your name? It's Bill Clay. Oh, got cut with your penstone, huh, Bill? I cannot see Charles Bronson as fucking John McClane.
That would have ruined the movie. You know?
Well, you could see Charles Bronson. I could see Richard Athens like MacGyver.
And you got Blue Eyes. He's like, "I'll croon you to death," you know.
MacGyver is the only man that can build a bomb out of like the ink pen.
Dude, MacGyver and Die Hard, like doing all like the traps and shit. That would have been awesome.
That would have been pretty cool.
Missed opportunities. I'm telling you. Like, Charles, why'd you turn it down, Charles? What?
Yeah.
I'm glad they didn't offer it to Shatner because God knows he'd never turn that down.
You cannot do this.
You know,
he always had that delayed voice.
Motherfucker.
Motherfucker.
that would have that might have been more comedic than anything. But Hans Gruber, the role for him was actually offered to Sam Neill.
Wow.
Kind of interesting.
Yes, Sam Neill's a very good actor, but I can't see anyone else as Hans Gruber.
Yeah, me either.
They should have had Charles Bronson as Hans Gruber or something like. So Bruce Willis could have the action star, you know, thing.
Yeah,
that would have been funny. I read about him in Time magazine.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Oh shit!
I thought it was funny. When he said Charles Bronson, I was like, "What?"
So anyway. Yeah, I know. Like Burt Reynolds in there too. I was like,
"Oh God!" Him and his hairpiece,
and that laugh too.
Only way that could happen. Yeah. What if he shows up as a bandit? That would have been like
the bandit dies hard. So don't go anywhere, Poe. I was going to talk about briefly the battle between, is this a Christmas movie or not? Poe, come back here. I want you to be part of this one. So, what arguments? If someone had an argument with you, Cyrus, this ain't a Christmas movie. What would you say to them to try to convince them that it is?
Well, what time of year does it take place? When was it released?
Yeah.
They're at a Christmas party, for God's sake.
Yeah, the song.
Yeah.
The entrance song.
Yeah.
Does a Christmas movie always have to be a good, happy, you know?
Thank you. That is exactly what I would say to somebody.
Home Alone, a Christmas movie?
Yeah. Exactly. It is. But what is it? It's all violence. Whatever, like he is like 8 years old or 9 years old.
Yeah, was Christmas Evil a Christmas movie? Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah. That is we'll cover that later. Anyway, I've always said that's way better than Silent Night, Deadly Night is Christmas Evil, because that's actually pretty freaking creepy and can actually happen. A guy that's obsessed with Christmas and like killing you know what I mean? Like Christmas Evil seems more real than Silent Night, Deadly Night. I'm just saying, but
yeah,
they both hold a special.
What would be your argument to someone that says Christmas?
I know we talked about
Christmas movie.
I know we talked about this in the past, and I always said, yeah. I mean, it's during the holidays and stuff, and why not? It is during the Christmas season, and there's plenty of movies out there that I consider Christmas movies that the movie takes place during Christmas, but it doesn't have you know what I mean? It doesn't have the name Christmas in it, but that's when the movie took place.
Yeah.
You know what I
It
mean?
doesn't have to be a Hallmark film. It can be a Christmas movie.
Screw those Hallmark films.
Exactly.
But,
no, and same with I would make the argument Lethal Weapon's a Christmas movie too.
Yeah, that too. Yeah, I mean, that whole scene of the Christmas tree farm was hilarious.
Oh, it was.
This one's a stretch, but I think didn't you have a show years ago? You talked about what are Christmas movies? But when we were on that other network, you had a show talking about. I think one of the topics was Christmas movies that aren't like your prototypical Christmas movies.
Yeah,
I'm going to add one to that list. Invasion USA. Chuck Norris.
Oh, really? Oh, yeah, because they're in the mall.
Yeah, the mall scene is all Christmas.
Oh,
and there's a bunch of scenes that it's snowing.
Dude, I didn't even think of that movie.
Yeah, I'm going to add one to that list. So, but my argument to someone would be the same as Cyrus. Does it all have to be feel good? I love you. Let's fuck and then break up and then get back together on Christmas Eve. I mean, you watch those Hallmark movies and they're all the same movie with just different people and different dialogue. That's it. They're all like, I met this girl. It's only almost before Christmas. Oh, we like each other. We have a big argument. Christmas Eve, the Christmas miracle happens. We live happily ever after. It's so fucking boring. To me, this has, like you said, the music, has the setting, has the Christmas party, and at the end, what happens? It's a feel-good movie with we live happily ever after. Isn't that what the Christmas movies are supposed to do? Have a happy ending at the end? Does it have to be about a man meets a woman and they love each other? It's like they do. Bruce Willis, he loves his woman. She's not ready yet because she changes her name. And at the end, guess what? They're back together again. Christmas movie.
I love it, man. You tied that with a perfect bow.
Yep. And if I had a girlfriend like Bonnie Bedelia, I would die hard too.
She could call herself Gennaro all she wants.
Yeah.
As long as she calls me Big Daddy.
Yeah, we need a big pun. Big B-I-G. She called me Big Daddy.
That's funny.
But so we're gonna do some ratings here on this one. So Mr. Poe, out of a 5-star.
Oh shit.
5 being the best.
Yeah.
Obviously, it can't get the Motley Crue rating of 0.
Hey, can we steal from Beckwood's Horn and rate the Motley Crue video out of PBRs?
Sure. Yes, I would love them to do that too, because I can only hear Cody right now. Oh, Cody told me, he goes, I don't even want to watch it to give it the view because he's heard so much bad things about it.
Oh no. No, Die Hard, dude, and definitely yeah. I mean, a 5, man. Come on. It stood the test of time. People know it.
Yes.
I mean,
and I see a lot of young kids watching it now, and they're like, "Oh my god, this guy is insane."
Yeah, it's just a badass movie, a premise, everything. I mean, many video games spawned off of it. It's just, hands down.
And it was Bruce Willis who taught us to hate the terrorists. And that was long before 9/11. So yeah.
Yeah, we were with John McClane when 9/11 was happening.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they could do another Die Hard right now on Columbia University's campus. Let's do that one.
Jesus Christ.
Well, before you give your rating, I want to piggyback off what I just said about 9/11. So did you know that when the bombings were happening, the planes, do you know they actually contacted the director of Invasion USA? Because they didn't really have like a clue, because Invasion USA actually used a professional a guy who's been through terrorism before
Yeah,
to make it look as realistic as possible.
They're like,
And no, it was
this
sorry,
you?
it was the director of Delta Force. Sorry, the director of Delta Force.
Oh, gotcha.
Because that was about a terrorist, and they actually used people who were professionals on how to handle terrorism.
Oh, wow.
So they actually so they actually got in contact with some of these guys on what to expect. I thought that I found that out. I was like, that's I mean that's it's not cool that it's happening, but it's cool that they resorted to turning to.
Was that before or after our
It
government?
was after the. It was after the
the
second.
rest of the building. I'm just
Yeah, I think it was like it was after the building had collapsed, I believe. But I know you did. I know you're talking about. Yeah,
I'm just messing with you.
no, I know. So Cyrus, what 1 to 5?
4.5, dude. This is still one of the best action films of the entire decade. And I'm like real hard to give anything a 5, so no pun intended.
Yeah. No, I was going to ask you, is
4.5.
the 5 because you started with how it started a little bit slow?
Yeah, maybe it was a little slow getting into some of the real hard action. It's hard.
Yeah.
How many times we use the word hard tonight? Is that a dildo on that desk behind you, Poe?
No.
Oh,
not yet.
Oh, that's Pee Wee Herman. Oh, sorry.
Actually, he is a vibrator himself. No.
But no,
I mean,
4.5.
he did get busted in that movie, adult cinema. So,
but 4.5, easy. Awesome film.
Yeah.
Yeah, and for me, I agree with you on the slow beginning, but sometimes I like to kind of feel out the characters, so I forgive it, and I'll give it a 5, like Poe.
Yeah, for sure.
So before we do some promotions, the next episode will be in 2 weeks, hopefully. And because like me and Cyrus have been sick, guys, so that's even tonight I've been battling, but I'm a lot more peppy today. So in 2 weeks we're going to be doing the Terminator. So,
shit! The
Nice.
first
in
one.
fact, it's going to be a 2-parter. We're doing part 2 also.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, we're going to be doing a 2-part, and I'm inviting anyone on Dognut Media to join us on this one because we are doing 2 movies. So
It's gonna be the apocalypse week because now we're talking about like movies to prep for like invasion and like I don't know about you guys, but I'm still watching Red Dawn to get some tips with all these ass clowns walking across our border every day. So that shit's coming.
Oh,
and
God.
then now we're gonna get like all the AI stuff. It's like, all right.
yeah, well,
bring
here's
on
the thing: is
Terminator.
I picked Terminator because of that, actually, because the computers are taking over. And
I
that's
think
I wish
Zuckerberg's a
Joey
robot.
T would join us for this episode because this is right up his alley.
Yeah. No,
Zuckerberg's a robot.
He's doing good. I texted him. He's got a lot. I mean, like we always say, we got stuff going on outside of all this fun that we're doing. And, you were sick the day that this was supposed to happen. And then you texted me and my son came down and I wanted to visit with him. I was like, shit.
Life happens.
Yeah, he was supposed to leave Wednesday, but they stayed an extra day. And I was like, I'll spend the next night with him. So it all works out. But yeah, you're right. I mean, stuff happens and, our personal stuff. I wish we could just do this, but
It'd be great if we got paid a lot of money to do it. That'd be awesome.
Yeah. It'd be a great thing.
You guys, we're all good at running our mouths, and I like it. It's cool.
Yeah.
Talk about nothing important and shit, and then terrorist invasions, and then commies on campus. That'd be a great movie, Commies on Campus.
Commies on Campus.
That could be part 2 to PCU. Remember that movie?
Dude, I hadn't thought of that movie in forever. PCU, that's a good one.
Yeah, kids need to watch that before they go to college these days because, like,
yes, they do.
Well, they don't have to watch Revenge of the Nerds.
Absolutely. You know what? Here's I'm going to do this on a Gonzo coming up. Movies kids should watch before they go to college in 2024.
There you go.
Varsity Blues.
Varsity, learn how to chill out, relax. You don't need a safe room. You don't need a safe space.
Hey, isn't Varsity Blues like a Texas movie too?
It's about football.
Yeah, Texas football.
Yeah.
Hey, Poe,
are they really that crazy in Texas about their football?
Yeah, it's a religion out here. Yeah.
Okay.
Are you flooded in Texas where you're at?
No, that is in the Houston area. I'm like shit.
He's near Corpus.
5 hours away from there,
Oh,
maybe
okay.
6. Yeah,
Okay.
I'm not anywhere close to where it's at. But fun fact, my son, when he was driving home with his now fiance, we just found out over the time they were
Whoa.
here. Yeah.
You heard it here first, guys.
Yeah, you did. So anyway, they were traveling back to Abilene, and there was 2 different ways to go, and he chose the second way for some reason. I don't know why. It's weird, dude. He went this way because if he went the other way that he usually goes, he would have been right smack dab in the middle of the tornado they had going on.
Oh,
wow.
shit.
Away. And they made it safely. They're fine. They're today's his birthday, actually.
Happy birthday.
He's freaking 21, dude. Yeah.
Wow.
So but yeah,
So that makes you old then.
yeah, I guess so. I guess
I was old one time.
Yeah. I didn't like it.
Now I'm just Jurassic. I'm just Jurassic now.
Hey, you know what? We're the new, like, we're like kids. We do like stuff that makes us feel good and young and joke around and stuff.
Exactly.
You know what? All these youngsters, like you were talking about the universities, they want to try to be grown-ups and be serious about all this shit. When you don't have any fucking control of it, just shut the fuck up and go have a drink or something and have fun. Life's too short, you morons.
The answer is in the bottom of that bottle. Like I'm telling you right now. So, no, it's yeah, you're right, man. But we're Gen Xers, right? So, I mean, I think the rule for Gen X is if you haven't grown up by the time you're 40, you don't have to.
No,
you don't have to.
Fun.
You have fun. We know how to have fun still, and we know how to joke around. We know when to be serious, but then also we know when something's happening, and it's like you can cry all you want. It's gonna happen. You know what I mean? Like,
you cry baby bitches.
Yeah. So, but yeah, man. Yeah, that's all I got. Yeah, I'm not you're flooding. I'm good.
So let's do some promoting. Do you have any Gonzo Chronicles coming up?
On the fly, whenever I feel like it. Actually, I just put one out this past week, where I actually, when that Motley song came out, I actually did the ranking Motley Crue albums. So nice. I did that, and so who knows what the next topic will be. Rob, do you want to jump on one here soon? So let me know.
Sure.
Anytime I'm ready for it. Pope, if you want to come on a Gonzo, we'll do it.
Oh yeah, dude. Oh, anytime. I love doing this stuff, man. I love it.
Number one. Let me see what you guess for number one Motley album. We're gonna go Shout at the Devil.
No, Theater of Pain.
Okay. Oh, that's actually the first concert I saw. I saw them on Theater of Pain tour.
Yeah, some of the B tracks that weren't big hits. Like, of course, there's like Home Sweet Home, but like, I Love It Loud. Yeah. Keep Your Eye on the Money. Like, those
Keep Your Eye on the Money. See, I can even sing that better than Vince.
Dude, the new Motley Crue video should have been like they're old men. You know, like
just face it. You guys are old.
They're old men, and they just like, you know, cobwebs everywhere and stuff. Like they're old news and everything, and then they see all this like stupid poppy bullshit happening, and then like they just they just transform into like they're, you know, like some badass like werewolves or something, and you know, like something so badass like looking, like they just come alive and like they, or you know what I mean, like they just rock out that way. I mean, that would have been a cool concept. Or like they're like in an operating room or something, like they've all died and they put their brains in robots or something. I don't know, like that. Like something cool, like AI-ish or something. I don't know. These are my pitches. I just
Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey.
Something.
Yeah.
Or they take a time machine. You know what I mean? Like they take a time machine back, and you know, something cool. Not this crap they had. I don't know.
Maybe cartoonish and somehow run into Beavis and Butthead. Yeah, that'd be.
Oh yeah, like flashback. Like, oh, that would have been cool. Like a multiverse type thing. They could have done a multiverse type thing, dude. Like, okay, So they start off and they're old in 2024, you know, and they kind of poke fun at themselves, you know, and Vince's voice ain't so good. And then like John 5 comes in, he's like, hey, I found like this thing that y'all had in one of your studios, and it was like a time machine they drunkenly bought, you know what I mean? And then they just they go in the time machine and they jump in multiverses, like they go back to the 80s and all. Dude, that's
and they see themselves.
The problem is they don't want to have anything to do with Mick Mars, so they would have had to cut out Mick Mars at all stops.
How wild would it be to see them in the first row of an audience watching themselves back in '86, like Rock and like the old guys? They're like, who are these people?
That's the video. That's the video. The video is them going like multiverse. That would have been awesome. They could have just been Motley thing. The Motley verse. There you go. Like, see, look, we're sitting here. We're three jackasses with no degrees with you know, entertainment or going to any kind of art school, and we're coming up with this shit because we're fans.
Yeah. Motley Crue, we just made you $1 million.
We just made you a badass. Anybody from Motley Crue, we need to tag them in this. Anybody listening, we could have made you a better video. Unfortunately, you went the video game route. It sucks. The video that we just came up with, I would have been like, even though the vocals aren't great, that video was badass if they did the multiverse thing where they went back and, oh my God, dude, we just came up with it right now.
I'll always be a Motley Crue fan, but I can never really recognize this as Motley Crue. I can't.
That would be a nostalgia right there, like a video of nostalgia that would have Gen Xers like weeping, even though it rocked. You know, so
cool. Here's the thing: you didn't even have to have Mick Mars, right? You had John 5 dress up like they're jumping, like they're time jumping, and he has like the stupid mustache on him.
Yeah,
that would be funny.
That would be funny.
I'm just sorry, but they could have like jumped to different eras of Motley Crue, and that would have been so great.
See, the problem is Motley Crue still thinks they're hip, and they're not. The kids today don't care who Motley Crue is.
This would have made them hip. This video right here, someone talked them into it. I hate that we're still going on, but I told you I'd come up with a concept, and now we all came up with it. I got the think tank going. You know,
that's awesome.
Yeah,
and right, we just came up with a better video in 2 seconds.
Exactly. On the next Dog Nut Media, you'll see our version of Motley Crue's video.
Well, I don't have Motley Crue money to make it. I'm just pitching the idea.
How about for the next Gonzo that we do with UPO? We'll do top. We'll rehash what, and Rob can come on and do this too. We'll do top 10 albums of the '80s, like hard rock, hair metal.
Okay.
And do our own top 10, and don't have to be the same, but we can all just kind of go over it and like show some like Tawny Katane clips. No music.
Is this just
so you really want me to die hard then? With Tawny Katane? Yes.
But yeah, because there were so many great albums that came out in the '90s. Some were like I don't know what we can do, or '80s. I mean, we can do that.
Yeah.
Maybe do a '90s show one day too.
There you go.
That '90s show. So Poe, do we have any other Dog Nut stuff before I promote?
No, just go check out our little catalog we got going. We're trying to get everybody back going in the right direction. I got some plans in my head that I'm trying to figure out what to do with. But yeah, go back and check out some Jack Transmissions. Check out some Father Mahoney's House of Horrors. I mean, the list goes on.
Sad Nation to Die For.
Yeah, check out Paul's show. Check out the Gonzo Chronicles. We actually did a Gonzo Chronicles with Paul, my buddy Paul from Sad Nation, and we're going to debut it here this weekend. So keep your eye out for that. Yeah. And we'll have the video. It's the first video Gonzo Chronicles. What else? Backwoods Horror Show. Check out the next one. It's going to be a fun one. But also go back to their old catalog. They got a lot of shows. We're doing good. We got a lot of things, irons in the fire. But yes, go check out everything Dog Nut Media that we have, and of course follow Dog Nut Media on Rumble. And in the first Poe Hub showed up when me and my brothers We're gonna just hang out, be brothers, and make fun of shit like we always do. And the next episode should be fun. Hopefully, we get to do that soon. And they're all pre-recorded. I don't know. We might go live. We're still tinkering with that. But anyway, that's what I got.
I say just get used to it first, and then as soon as everybody's used to it, think you can do a live show every now and then, but you don't have to do it every week.
Yeah. No, most
so for me, first I want to give a big shout out to the guys who have my theme song, Evil X. You can search on Spotify for them. They have 2 albums, and they're hard rockers, as you heard by the intro. I love that intro. There's a couple of times I wanted to tinker with, but I was like, fuck no, that's a good song. So I'm going to stick with that one. My second shout out is to After Hours Cinema. Those guys it's a late night horror hosted television program directed by Lee Turner. I just did a review of one of their movies called thecampushouse.com. It's all one word, thecampushouse.com. It's a reality based, like almost like Halloween Resurrection, but 6 times better. It's actually it's very intriguing for a low budget movie. It keeps me interested. There's a good story behind it. There's a lot of thrills, some good kills. It really caught me on surprise. So go check out that review on my YouTube channel, Mahoney's Massacre, and look for Father Mahoney's movie reviews. And also, I want to point out, I just did a movie called The Guilty. I actually ran into this movie by accident on TikTok. Sometimes they have like 20, 30-second videos. And all I got to see was 30 seconds of this video, and it had me hooked. So I found it on Netflix. You can watch it. It stars Jake Gyllenhaal, who I'm not a fan of. But this movie actually grabbed me right from the beginning. I'll give just a quick premise. The premise is he's a cop that just got in trouble with a case, so they demoted him to a 911 operator, and he's angry. He's wanting to get back on the force when he receives a distress 911 call from a lady who says that she's been kidnapped, and he tries to communicate with her without actually like her realizing, giving away who she's talking to. So she says she's talking to her daughter, and so it ends up being her husband, because in the background you keep hearing, well, let me talk to her. So it grabs you right from that phone call, and you don't see a lot of actors. It's mostly this guy talking to this girl, and then finding out the number to her real house and talking to the daughter, who's only 6 years old. It's an amazing movie, and it flew way under the radar. I'd never heard of this movie, but I think it was 2019. So check out my review on it. If it intrigues you, go watch it. It's on Netflix. So my God, it definitely flew under the radar. So
awesome.
So until 2 more weeks, guys, when we bring the Terminator back. Yes. How many times have you been back since now? Like 6 movies now?
20 times. No, I don't know. Yeah. I'm just messing around.
But we're just going to focus on 1 and 2. So anybody from Dognet Media want to join us, let me or Po know, and we'll get to you with the date soon.
I will put the link in the messenger. I just put it there if they want to join.
And of course, Linda Hamilton will definitely make me die hard. So with that, much love. And we'll see you in 2 weeks, guys.
Amazing!